Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. I hope you enjoyed the previous series on laws of money, and so today we are picking up on something different, which I also hope that we will enjoy and learn from it. So I'm going to be talking about budgeting. I know it's something tiny and sounds like it's a minor thing to consider in life, but it's so important and plays a key role in our lives. So I'll be speaking about budgeting and elaborating a little bit more on it so that you see the need to embrace it. So, what is budgeting? Like in a layman's language or perception, what is budgeting? What is budgeting? Like, what crosses your mind when you hear about the term budgeting? So, as a person, when I hear someone talking about budgeting, the first thing that will cross my mind is my money, because there is nothing else that I will budget on if not my money. So, budgeting is how to use a spending plan or directing your money on how it's going to be used, because we are coming from a term budget, which is a spending plan, and so budgeting is executing what is on your spending plan. So today I really want us to talk about this budgeting thing, because as we've been talking about saving, about the laws of money, about how to utilize our money to our benefit, we can also come to terms with the fact that if we don't budget, we won't have that money with us. And so I want us to look about the various aspects of budgeting. What are you supposed to consider while budgeting for your money? Number one, you're supposed to consider your net income. Why your net income and not the gross income? Because the net income is the final amount that will be dropping in your account. What you have after you've been taxed, after you've paid for the various health insurance and all that. How much is sticking into your account? Now that is your net income. And that is what you can tell yourself that now I have this with me and I can now start working with it. And after knowing your net income, the next thing is to ensure that your life is consistent with what you're earning. Like the net income that you have is in a position to tackle the various expenditures that you have with you. And in addition to that, you'll be like in a position to save some coins at the end of the day. Why am I saying you should live within your net income? Because if you exceed it, you're creating debts. And by all means, we should try to avoid creating debts, just because we want to live a fancy life and therefore come up with debts. No, you shouldn't be that kind of a person. So after considering your lifestyle, the next thing is you now come up with your goals that are realistic, of course. They can be achieved. And after coming up with your goals, you now sit down and plan your money. So while working on your budget, like while you're budgeting your net income, there are various things that you have to consider. You have to consider your needs, you have to consider your wants, and you have to consider the debts that you have, and you also have to consider your investment plan. So the first thing that you consider is your needs. And what is your need? A need will be, I'll define it as something that is mandatory, something that you can't live without, like shelter, like food and clothing. I mean, you can't survive without food, and you can't survive without transport, to maneuver around while handling your day-to-day businesses. So those are mandatory needs. They are mandatory stuff that you need, and such will group them under needs. We also have our wants. Our wants are things that we try to look forth for to be comfortable, just for comfy lifestyle. Things like recreational facilities, like things like buying maybe a new set of shoes, not because you need it, but maybe because it's something that it's trending and you'd like to have it, things like that. Those I will tackle them under our wants. And then we have our debts. Debts are, I would say, amounts that we owe other people, maybe because we borrowed them so that we could create something, like maybe you borrowed somewhere some coins so that you'll have capital to run a business, or maybe you borrowed money so that you could go to school and learn. So those loans, like all that is under your debts. So you should ensure that you categorize while planning. You also have your debts in line up, And then the last part is your investment. Like we all have our goals. We have goals to save and we have goals to invest. So while you're planning, ensure that all that comes into place so that your budget is as constructive and workable as it can be. And on my last point about the budgeting part is how important budgeting is to us. Budgeting is very important because it enables us to live within our means. You won't be in a place whereby you're exceeding your budget if you're disciplined enough, and that will help you ensure that you stay on track with the match that you have with you. In addition to that, it creates and it enables us to see how much we have, like a pool of funds that maybe we didn't know, because prior to planning your money, you'll feel like you have a lot at your dispensation and tend to spend thrift. But after budgeting, you will tend to know that I have this much and I can spend it wisely, and hence have some coins on the side to save. So it tends to enable us to have some coins on the side so that we can save at the end of the day. Also, budgeting enables us to just realize how much discipline we can be, because prior to budgeting you might maybe have been leading a different lifestyle, but when budgeting comes in handy, it trains you to have a certain character that was missing before. So ensure that you embrace budgeting in your life. It doesn't really matter how old or young you are. This implies to each and every one of us, and when we embrace budgeting, we'll be able to not only acquire all these beautiful rewards that come with it, but also to stand a chance to evade unnecessary debts and chaos in our lives. So all the best, and make sure you pick something from the entire budgeting story and walk with it home. Have a wonderful and amazing evening, morning, and night, depending on where you are. Bye.